The date for the first reading today from the book of Kings was March 16th, 529 BC. It was the day that Jerusalem was destroyed by the Babylonians. It was predicted that if the people did not follow God's will and do God's will, that their city would be destroyed. And indeed it was. They destroyed the city. They stole all of the goods out of the temple and out of the palace of the king. And they deported all the people, the armies and everyone, to Babylon. It was a day of great sadness and great despair for the people. In the gospel today, Jesus talks about how important it is to do the will of God. The Lord's Prayer tells us that every time we pray the Our Father, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. As long as we are trying to do the will of God, everything will go as it's supposed to do. And if we do not, then it will fail. We do not always understand the wisdom of God or the plans that God has, but we have to trust in Him, because that's the ultimate will, is that we all be united with Him in peace and in truth. Saint Irenaeus, and his name means one who loves peace. Irenaeus in the Greek means peace. And he taught with peace in mind. He had a way of, he was fighting against Gnosticism. Gnosticism were a group of people who were trying to destroy Christianity. They believed that most important was knowing spiritual truths to be found. And they denied the corporeality of Jesus. They didn't believe that he was really human. And so they emphasized the spiritual and even negating everything that's material, which was so wrong. God created us body and soul, and he created us as human beings with the body and soul. We have a spirit and we have a body, and God redeemed both the body and the soul, will rise from the dead one day. And Saint Irenaeus fought strongly against Gnosticism, so much to the point that he pretty much destroyed them. His approach was not to defeat his enemies, but to win them over to the truth. It was an interesting approach. He wanted to win them over to the truth about Jesus Christ. He wasn't going to glory in their defeat. No one should be defeated in an argument, but everyone should come to the truth. And that's what Irenaeus was accomplishing by his works. Ultimately, he was martyred for the faith, but he was a man who had deep trust in God, absolute trust in the Lord. So Irenaeus dates all the way back to the 2nd century. We don't know all the specifics about his life or even about his martyrdom. We know that he was just so adamant about teaching the truth. He was a student of the law. He was a student of the scriptures. And he was a student who could pull those things together for the people in a very real and practical way. To do the will of God, again, was Irenaeus' theme. To do the will of God, and that brings about peace in our individual lives and in our world. So today we thank God for the gift of his truth that comes to us from the tradition of the apostles, and it comes to us through the scriptures, that when we live that truth, we are at peace. Let us stand and offer our prayers and petitions.